I'm waiting. Okay, so today, starting a little early, but it says we've got a viewer waiting, and we'll have a few more as we go. Today, we have the next step of our comic book superhero unit. I just posted an assignment, and let me give a little recap for anybody who missed it during the snow days or was making up other stuff and didn't start on this part yet. So we have documentary. I posted a link right here, and I will show some in class today. I showed a big chunk last time, and if you're at home, you can watch it at your own pace. It's pretty entertaining. I think the production values are really nice, and the narrator's really good, and you can watch it all in one sitting, or you could break it up into a few. I'm breaking up the questions into a few, and so I posted one last time that covered the beginning part. It starts in the 30s with the beginning of comic books, and then it goes up to like World War II-ish, and then I'm posting one today that has questions about that World War II up to around the 60s, and then we'll do another one next time. And there's a lot of good info. There's also a lot of good analysis. It has people talking about what this stuff means and how it fit into the culture and how people reacted and how it was a business and a fan club and a piece of art and many things. The questions are not just like, what are Magneto's powers or something like that. You probably know that stuff already, but even if you don't, that's not really the focus. So the reason we're covering this is because when we look at sci-fi and fantasy, it really follows a similar trajectory. Next quarter, I'm going to show you guys a story from a guy named H.P. Lovecraft, and he was writing in the 20s and 30s and was published in magazines that had crazy colorful illustrations on the front, and they weren't comic books, but they were sold right next to the comic books, and they were a very similar style of business. A lot of them were on this paper called pulp, which was the cheap paper, because this was seen as a sort of low-class thing. If you were getting sci-fi or fantasy, or if you were getting comic books, you weren't getting like the best glossy paper that was going to last forever. You were getting the cheap stuff. And obviously the subject matter is the same kind of stuff. If you look at the way they blend sci-fi and fantasy, the way they tell stories that often have little morals, like the villain gets punished in some poetic justice type of way. These happen in comics, and they happen in the sci-fi and fantasy of the time, and they're also sometimes just directly related. So one thing we're going to see is the Incredible Hulk was inspired by another story we might read next quarter, which is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. A little bit earlier, a couple decades before the other stuff I'm talking about, but one of the early inspirations for that. So anyway, I posted a form that has questions about the beginning, and they go in order, basically the way that it covers in the movie, so you won't have to jump around. And then I posted one today that has questions about, the second part. And I'm counting these as assessments. Okay, I've made the name say quiz, and I'm counting them as assessments. They're small ones, they're just 10 points. But I thought, we need some assessments because that category is 70% of your grade. And if we only have one or two things in there, then those things are like, 30% of your grade. But if we have a couple little ones, it spreads it out and it gives you more variety. So if you missed one thing, it won't be a ruin to your score. And by the way, if you missed one thing, you can still make it up. I put in some grades for the project presentation. I did some a while ago. I did some yesterday, and a couple people said, "Hey, I got a 0. Can I still do it?" And I said, "Yes, totally fine." And if you did the other earlier parts of the presentation, it would be pretty easy to do the video form. So we don't want to wait until the end, of course, but we have a couple weeks left in the quarter, and everybody should be fine by the end. This is not a class where you can give it your best shot and still fail. I mean, if you try and you participate and you do all the stuff, then you should be doing just fine. I'm going to end this video now so that it's not too long, and in class I'm going to show the next part of the video. We can talk about the questions. If you're at home, you can do the same thing. Thanks.